Facebook is online.
This is Andrea Yount. We are preparing for Therapy Thursday, our weekly broadcast on mental health topics.
YouTube is online.
Therapy Thursday is brought to you by Affinity Counseling Services and A Lovely Pause. This is a test.
Affinity Counseling Services is located in Piggott, Arkansas, and Kennett, Missouri. We currently have 4 therapists in our office and are taking new clients. To join our sign-up sheet, visit counselingwithaffinity.com, and to find out more, you can call me, Kindred, at 870-324-5122 or 573-840-0440. Thank you.
A Lovely Pause is a local nonprofit created to provide community education, awareness, coping skills, and support for those with PTSD and other trauma-related disorders. It is sad September. This month, A Lovely Pause is giving you a free depression tracker. Track your moods and patterns so you can unlock your mind from the chains of sadness. You can get yours by signing up for our emails at alovelypause.com. And you can also check us out on Facebook and check it out anyway to find out more about our fundraising progress, current and upcoming events, and more exclusive freebies.
Let me hear you two just say
This is a test. Hello.
Hello,
Hello,
Kindred.
hello.
Why are you not the man behind the curtains?
Oh, hold on.
We are testing our sound, so give us a few seconds.
Now I'm behind the curtains.
Oh, yes, the Wizard of Oz.
Don't
Right, I think we're ready now.
don't look behind the curtains. Okay.
Okay. I like your mug.
That's a nice one. I like your mug too.
Go.
I'm like missing
You
it.
don't have to whisper. What are you thinking?
Therapy Thursday normalizes discussing mental health topics in a safe, supportive environment because not being normal is normal.
Welcome, everyone, to Therapy Thursday, our weekly installment here at Affinity Counseling Services, where we talk about different mental health topics from a personal and professional perspective. My name is Matthew Yount, lead therapist and president here at Affinity.
I'm Andrea Yount, and I am the vice president of Affinity and the chairman of the board for A Lovely Pause.
I'm Stacy Diggs, and I am a lead marketer at Hive Minds Marketing and vice chair at A Lovely Pause.
And I'm behind the camera as always, and the curtain, taking your comments, questions, and concerns. I'm the secretary for Affinity Counseling Services and the secretary of the board for A Lovely Pause. And my name's Kindred.
Hi, Kindred. We're going to say give all your titles, but not
Hey.
your name.
The one behind the curtain.
Yes, she is the one behind the curtain. We don't have
Yes.
curtains.
Yeah,
in
we have
ours.
curtains in here that divide the room that you cannot see, so it means nothing to any of you. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us. This is Therapy Thursday, our weekly installment here. We are going to be talking more about sadness for the month of September. Sad September. But we have things to promote. I'm sure we have things to promote. We seem to always have things to promote.
A Lovely Pause still has their raffle going on for $200 worth of Garcia's meat. So if you want to be able to pick out your fresh, local, farm-raised beef, or they also have pork and seafood.
And chicken.
Oh, and chicken. They got
Yes.
everything. So you
Octopus.
can go. You can pick
Yes.
out whatever you want. $200 on us. So, but you gotta get yourself a raffle ticket.
How do they get a raffle ticket?
You can go to Cox Lumber. You can go to the Garcia's Meat Store in Marmaduke. You can find a Lovely Pause board member. Where do we have any more boxes out yet? We were going to put
What
one
about
up.
the Mexican food?
Los Compadres.
Yeah.
Los Compadres. We
Yes.
have a box there. So Yeah.
Or you can get them
Or-
online. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we also have Venmo and PayPal.
Yes, so you can Venmo us. Just make sure you put in the note how many raffle tickets you want. And we'll get your name on there.
Yep, that's and that's at A Lovely Pause's Facebook page that they can find all that information to Venmo you.
The Venmo, yes, we've got some graphics up on our Facebook page that has all that info, so you can just check it out.
Awesome. And you guys are now an official 501c3.
We are, yes,
Very cool.
officially, yes.
And let's see what else. We've got the parade coming up, the Delta County Fair. We're going to be in that.
Winners, we're gonna win this.
Yeah,
thing.
we've got a really cool float idea, I think. So
Yeah, we got second place last year.
If we
Going
stop
for
being
number
so
one.
competitive, if we lay low, nobody else will even think about
Yeah,
it.
well, we won second place last year and didn't even know that there were
We didn't know
places.
we were being
No,
judged,
had no
so-
clue.
Now we know.
Yeah.
So it's on, I mean, now we actually know we're competing. So imagine
thought-
how bad it's going to be.
I'm
this
pretty
year.
sure I
mean,
walked
no,
up and gave
get a big
the
head.
judges some like pamphlets last
Yeah,
year.
I think we did. And
I didn't even
know they were judges.
I didn't
yes.
know. I probably may have tried not to.
Really,
approach them
we're
with
gonna
that.
have fun, and it's gonna be fun for us. I
And
think.
we're gonna have to find somebody to be fear though, because Maria can't do it. She has
We can't.
classes those nights.
We
so.
can't. You're giving away what we're doing, so just don't talk about it.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did you think somebody was actually watching us that was here to like snipe our idea for the $1,000?
Well, I just
You
want
never
people to
know.
be
Yeah.
surprised.
Okay. Anyway, so forget I said anything. Moving on. We also have the Clay County Fair
Yeah.
going on. We have some booths set up there. So a lot happening. Anything else that we need to promote?
Fall into Arts Festival.
Oh, yes.
was-
Oh yeah, we did that last weekend.
Yeah, we did. Great success. Kennett has a really wonderful, it's a KAFTA, KFTA, that puts this on every year. And it was the biggest one I think that they've had yet. Food vendors, craft vendors, artists of all kinds, and a lovely pause was set up and promoting using art as an expression of our thoughts and feelings. And we had our local artist, Lindsay Wickham, who was there. And if any of you came and saw our booth, you saw how amazing all of that work
Yep.
was. We will try to put something up on Facebook with
Yep.
some of
Yeah.
her art.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
In the future, like real soon future. So you guys can see it too.
All righty. Well, great. So let's go ahead and get into our topic. So it's Sad September.
Sad September.
What's our topic for today?
healthy sadness? Is what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So how can a negative emotion be healthy? I think we're all conditioned to want to avoid negative emotions or just completely dissociate from them instead of actually determining how that emotion can be something that's communicating with us and telling us something that maybe we need to hear, but we're just not open to experiencing because we're supposed to be avoiding sadness. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on it before I jump in anything. How do you think sadness can be healthy?
Well, if you don't, if you're sad and you don't recognize that you're sad, or you try to stuff it in and not feel that sadness, it doesn't make the sadness go away. It stays there. And so and you will hold that somewhere in your body, you will hold that in your mind, it will distract you, it will cause you to dissociate, it will cause you to hold anxiety or fear or tension in your body somewhere. So it's going to affect you if you're not going to feel it. If you feel it, it might be extremely uncomfortable for a amount of time. But once that amount of time, once you feel it, in the cases of grief, you learn how to make that a little bit less heavy. Or in just regular sadness, if you just feel it and it's over with, then you don't carry that around with you anymore. It's gone. And like grief, of course, it's not going to be something that ever leaves, that you're going to carry that with you. But you learn, if you allow yourself to feel it, it just doesn't compile. You know what I mean? It makes it less heavy.
So that's the allowing yourself to accept and experience
Yes.
sadness. I'm wondering though, like how can the experience of sadness itself be something that is a healthy experience of actually having sadness?
Like healthy ways of getting it out.
No, like just
Sadness
having it. Yes.
being healthy.
See, this
Well-
is why this is such a difficult conversation to have because most people immediately think,
Yeah.
I have sadness. I must feel it, or I must get rid of it, or I must avoid it.
Right, I
but
get what
like,
you're
there's
saying.
something to be contended with, rather than, oh, I'm sad. This might actually be a good thing.
So, okay, I can relate to that with taking Avery to college.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so super sad. I mean, there's pictures. I would never ever. I've seen people recently sharing pictures of them helping their kids move into college. I would never share those pictures because I'm like,
Oh,
I mean, it was, ugh, it was like you were ripping my arm off, right? So it really felt like that. But at the same time, it was a healthy sadness. I needed to feel that because I needed to be able to let that go. But I also needed to be able to be sad about it and experience that sadness because I needed to be able to feel that in order to let that go. I don't know how to explain that, but I mean, you might be able to explain that a little bit better. But feeling that sadness and instead of holding it in, if I would have held that in, that's letting it go. But it's healthy to experience that sadness because it's a letting go of this. If I would have just let her go,
It gives
then I
weight
would have
to
been,
the moment.
Yes, I would have been enabling her.
Yes. Well, so it gives weight to that moment. You have to be willing to have that sadness to have the experience.
Yeah.
So the sadness creates part of the emotional bonding in that moment. Strong emotions bond people together, and it doesn't matter if they're good emotions or negative emotions. In fact, sometimes negative emotions bond people more. It's the sadness of the moment. Both of you sharing in that experience of sadness is a bonding experience. So it creates a sense of connectivity, but it's also an understanding that the sadness must be had in order to pass that person on to the
Yes.
next phase
Right.
of their experience.
Because if I would have just been like, no, I'm not going to, that's going to make me sad, so I'm not going to do that, then I'd just keep Avery with me her whole life, which is suffocating and stifling of herself, right?
or even,
So-
yeah, go ahead.
well, or if you didn't express it, and like, in let's say she's feeling some sad feelings, but you're not expressing sad feelings back, then there's that disconnect
Right.
that's there, and you're modeling for your kids by like expressing, like, there's appropriate times to be sad, like
Yeah,
some
right.
stuff is sad and it's okay to be sad during that, and I think that you're showing that and bonding over those
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah, and what would it say for the relationship if you just like smiled and laughed the whole way, skipped down the hall, showed her
Yeah.
room, and said, "See ya."
She'd think I didn't care.
Yeah. So sadness, it's weird, a thing about being human, but suffering shows you care. The more you're willing to suffer for somebody, to a limit, the more it indicates that how strong the bond in the relationship is. Of course, you don't want to be the only one suffering in the relationship, so don't ever take it that way that you must be the only one
Right.
suffering if the other person doesn't
Yeah.
seem to be bothered by anything. That may be a very unhealthy relationship, but it's that shared sadness and suffering that indicates the strength of the bond in the relationship and actually bonds it more together. So it's like, I'm suffering, but I'm willing to suffer to allow you the opportunity to grow and develop, and I'm supporting you, but I'm also showing how much it hurts by me suffering with you. So shared suffering creates a bond.
It's just made me think of something. So in Asian cultures, when someone passes away, there's actual professional mourners that they hire to come to these funerals, and these people come and they wail and they weep and they beat their chest and they really get into the loss and the grief and the sadness. But
They do it for you, though?
they do it as a way culturally,
To
I
make
guess,
other people feel comfortable to do it.
to allow
Yeah.
that space for
Yeah.
other people to do
Ah.
it too. So it's become a thing that's part of that culture, that there are these people, like, that is their purpose, right? It's kind of like having a doula for birth. It's like a doula
Yeah.
for death, you know?
It reminds me of like yoga. Like, I mean, that's kind of like what yoga is. Like when we say like we're creating a safe space for people, or we're just counseling or, any type of therapy when you're creating a safe space, and, people kind of balk at that phrase, but it's real. It's like
Right.
what you're doing is you're showing people, you're being vulnerable to show people that it's okay in this situation to be vulnerable.
No, the type of safe space I think that a lot of people balk at the idea of is that we're supposed to keep this space free of any negativity.
Yeah.
And no type of emotion should be here. We're going to protect you from feeling anything.
Right. It's just that phrase that they balk at.
Right.
But that's not what I mean.
No,
when I
but
say
the,
that.
the top, but it's a good distinction to make. The type of safe space that you identified is the right type of safe space, which is where you're free to show your emotions here.
Yeah.
You're safe to show your emotions here. They will be respected and honored as long as you're a respectful human being.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, oh, we want to create a space where there's no feelings and protect you from all the negative ones.
Right.
It's you're allowed to bring your feelings to this. And so that sense of shared sadness is incredibly important for people to experience. And it's also an understanding that when you have sadness, it means something is going on in your life that's significant, that's causing you to be down or hurt, and it's like an indicator light on your car. There's something you need to pay attention to here. It doesn't even necessarily mean that you must fix it right away, but there's an indication that something is going on in your life that is causing you to be in this state. And if you don't pay attention to it, then it could get out of control. So it's like, sadness is like the first indicator light. Hey, something might be wrong. So but if you keep ignoring it, then you're going to have a compounding problem where you can start to get into full-on depression because you've ignored just the mild indicators of sadness for so long. Yes.
Sorry, just thinking about it as a car.
Yeah.
As you slowly ignore each problem.
Yes. It compounds.
More
Clunking
lights are
down the
coming
road.
on.
Yeah. And think of how easy it is to ignore some lights in your car. Yeah. I've got some on in there that are like, it's fine, and we'll get to them. But it's like, but you can start to ignore things, and you can do that in your own life too. The first time you see that light come on, you're like, I should probably do something about that. But you don't, and then you get back out and you get back in, and then it comes on again, and eventually it's just a noise that's in your car that you're not paying any attention to. You just learn to let it slide. But we can do that with our own emotions and our own sadness.
Elise Myers the other day. I don't know if everybody knows. She's TikTok girl.
Oh,
Elise.
okay.
Y'all know Elise.
I don't know unless you shared her with me.
But yeah, I've shared her plenty of times. Anyway, she's one of my favorites. I love her so much. Anyways, she was saying yesterday, talking about you're saying you're talking about becomes noise, about those things that become just noise to us that we just like visual white noise, I think is what she said. It's like where you just put something there and then it just blends in with the surrounding and you don't even see it anymore.
Yep. Well, they have trouble.
It's like my laundry pile.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not even
it's
there
like
anymore.
It's not even there. It's like you forget that it's there because you're so used to it being there. It's like visual white noise is what she called it.
And then one day you walk in and you're like, holy crap, look at the size of that laundry.
Yes, yeah. Then you're
It's
like,
taking up my entire bed now.
Well, the human capacity to be able to ignore things that they're used to is very big. I mean, there's a large capacity for them to ignore. I mean, cities have this trouble because of like warning sounds on trucks or ambulances or sirens that the problem they run into is people hear them so much they become numb to them. And they start to just like people were getting hit by backing up trucks because the noise is the same on all of them, and they hear them so much they just blend into the background and you don't realize there's a warning next to you. And so they've had to experiment with having different noises and changing up the sound patterns to get people's attention to think.
That's weird because I was in St. Louis and I was like, there was a couple sirens that went by. I was like, those sirens are different.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're experimenting.
They're experimenting with changing them up on occasion so that it keeps a similar undertone of the noise you're used to, but changes some of the pitch or some of the other harmonics of it to make it seem different enough for you to go, what's that?
Yeah.
That seems familiar,
Cool.
but I don't know
Yeah.
what that is. And it
That
actually makes you
sense,
pay
though.
attention.
Yeah.
Because, here, we live in a small town. We're out in the country. We can hear the Pollard fire truck go by
Yeah.
on the highway, and we know it's the Pollard fire truck, and we're like, oh, there must be a fire somewhere. But
And
people,
you know what's on the highway.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's on the highway. And you just hope it's like, it ain't coming down our road, is it? Ain't nobody down
You
here
can
have a
listen
fire.
long enough, you can tell which way it's going.
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay, that's going towards Piggott or going towards McDougal, right? So
Right, but you don't. But if you hear sirens 5, 6, 7 times a day,
yeah.
you don't even pay attention
Well, I
anymore.
mean, think about it. Next time you go to the city to spend some time, by the time you're leaving, you get kind of used to it.
Yeah, you just get desensitized.
You just get kind of used to it. So
And so I say that because our capability to become desensitized to our own pain is very high too. Like our daughter has something going on with her arm, and it seems like she's got a really bad pinched nerve. And yesterday I was like, "Hey, did you make that appointment with a massage therapist yet?" She's like, "No, I forgot. I didn't write it down." And I'm like,
she has no use of her arm.
"Yeah, well, no, it's very minimal use, but and it's not like it's dead,
Right,
it's,
but like
in
very,
pain.
very, very minimal use of her arm.
And to me, I'm like, you had to write it down? Is the fact that you have an arm that's in pain and flopping not enough to tell
Yeah.
you I might need to go get this checked out? But
Which she's been to the doctor, but yeah.
but I'm like, to go get relief on
Right.
it? Yeah. But people do this all the time. We just we notice something and then we ignore it and ignore it and ignore it, and it just becomes a part of us to eventually we're just like, well, I'm just in pain all the time, or I just hurt, or I guess I'm just a depressed person. And then we start to identify with that, and we take it on as part of our identity to where we don't even think about getting it fixed anymore because it's just who we are.
Yeah.
I am sad.
Yes.
Instead of I feel sad.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, and people can get into that very quick.
Kindred feels attacked over there, I think.
I can't say anything. It's supposed to be surprise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yes, that's for later, so we won't talk about that. But yes, so it is super easy for us to get into these states.
It is.
We're talking about sadness, laughing so much. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, sorry if that's like who you identify as is sadness, but we're just telling you there are ways to get out of it. It is possible.
Yeah.
You don't have to keep it as your own identity anymore, just like you don't have to keep anger as an identity either. But there are people
I
that
hope
do
you're not
that.
talking to me.
You?
I'm just
Well, no, you have moments where anger is like your identity,
I know because
and like,
I
but
like,
Or-
my, I
or
like my
shame.
anger a lot.
or
Or
shame.
guilt or whatever it is, you are not just that, right? Like we have more.
Yeah.
But when something stays a part of you long enough, it's scary to let go of it. I mean, things do become a part of your identity to a point where you don't want to get rid of it because you feel like you're going to be losing a part of yourself, and you really don't know what you're going to do after that's gone. And some people see it as a protective mechanism. They're like, well, I'm sad, but if I try to get happy again, all I'm going to get is let down and disappointed and be more sad than I am now, because then I'm going to know there's no hope for me. So I'd rather just hold on to this sadness because I don't want it to get worse, and I don't want to try again because I'll probably just fail. People start forming belief systems about themselves and the world based on the emotions that they experience a lot. So if you experience safety and happiness and connectivity, you just assume that's the way that the world is most of the time around you. And if things don't match up with that, then you know something's wrong and you try to change it. But if you live in a state of sadness and hurt or anger, then you don't know that you should change it, and you just assume that those things that are going on around you are either other people faking or just never going to happen for you.
And you attract those things into your world, right? I was at the dollar store yesterday picking up some supplies for our booth, and there was this song that was like, happy is as happy does, and it was talking about how, like, you either notice something and it's got this, it's not that everything's all perspective. Some people like have like very valid
Sure.
reasons for their sadness or their anger and all of that, but also like those mindsets sometimes can become so encompassing that you can't see these other avenues around you, and those support mechanisms around you can help you to have different perspectives if you have them.
That's why
Absolutely.
small victories are so important.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got to have that opportunity to see that there is a possibility for something different. And a lot of people who are coming into therapy, they're at therapy for kind of like a last resort. It's just kind of all gotten bad. They've tried to fix it several times before. That things aren't changing. They don't know what to do. And so they're like, look, this is going to be the last time I really try. Or some people have like just been asked to come. So they're like, well, I've kind of given up, but other people wanted me to be here. So we're, sometimes I deal with people that are already at the hopeless state, and they're just like, "Nah, I don't know what I'm going to do about this." But they've identified with that sadness so much that they're like, I deserve this. That's who I am. I guess this is just like my punishment. God wants me to be this way, whatever it is. They've identified with it so much that they don't see a capability of escaping it. And if you don't see a capability of escaping your emotional state, it's going to be really hard to have the necessary fuel or velocity to actually escape the gravity that comes with that intense feeling that just persists with you constantly.
As a person with depression, this is kind of making me kind of dissociate and start to have negative thoughts because I'm already in that type of cycle right now. I'm just going to say that being able to pay attention to your cycle and like know that you're in your cycle.
Yes.
And be able to recognize when you're starting to have those thoughts can help you stop it.
Yes.
Can help you stop that cycle. And so like right now listening to you talk about that, even though you're trying to say that, you know, this is what you need to do to help, because if you continue doing this, then you know, it's not going to be good for you. I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I've been trying for years to stop this. But then, so like, I'm already in that. Like, I know I'm in the thralls of a depressive episode, right? So I know I'm trying not to be negative. And so, like me, I recognize that thought and I'm like, no, because, you know, you've come a long way from where you were years ago, right? You may still be in that cycle, but like I shared a visual the other day that I was like, I love this visual on Facebook because if you look at it from the top, it looks like you're going in a circle. But if you look at it from the side, you're going in a spiral staircase up, right? And it's like I may still be in that cycle right now of being depressed, but I'm a long ways from where I started. And so...
And those cycles are only momentary for you now. They don't last that long.
Right. And so speaking of that, Stacy mentioned at the beginning, A Lovely Pause is giving away a free depression tracker. You can find it on our website. If you've signed up for our newsletter, it's in your email. So, and that can be really helpful to be able to track those negative thoughts. So if you are sad to the level of depression and you do find yourself being in those cycles, you can start to head them off and understand when they're coming. And I did put in on that, it's way more helpful to use that tracker if you're in therapy.
Yep,
so I just wanted to put that out there because I was having those thoughts as you were talking.
And I love you sharing that in real time because like that's how that stuff works. You'll be in just a regular conversation with your friends or your coworkers, and like you'll have those intrusive thoughts that come in, those cycles that you've got. And like if you're unconscious of them and you're not paying attention to your thinking, then that will set the tone for a whole chunk of your life. And like the process of being aware is, I mean, it's a repetitive process, right?
Very much so. Yeah, especially if you know that you're in that downward spiral, right? If you know that your body or your mind is wanting to start that cycle because it does it, you know, on its own. Like something will trigger it, time of year, time of day, something said, whatever, and it'll get triggered. And once that gets triggered, if you can recognize that makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. So if you're noticing that you're stuck in unhealthy patterns or just you're feeling these feelings and the indicator light's been on way too long, we're here to help. You can reach out to us at Affinity Counseling Services on Facebook. You can also contact us at our Piggott office at 870-324-5122, or you can contact us at our Kennett, Missouri office at 573-840-0440, or you can just sign up with us directly at counselingwithaffinity.com. Anything from A Lovely Pause?
Like I said, we've got our raffle going on now, so you can get one. You can sign up for that at Cox Lumber Company, Los Compadres in Piggott, the Garcia's Meats in Marmaduke, or any of the board members for A Lovely Pause. So you can, or you can go online on our Facebook page and you can see where to send that for Venmo or PayPal. Just leave us a note with your name and contact info and let us know how many tickets you want.
And also, while you're at A Lovely Pause, sign up for our newsletter and get your free depression tracker for tracking your patterns. Let's start being our best selves, guys. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.